ELL children and children with special needs are often left out in the cold when decisions are made concerning the education of mainstream students. When I first began to work with students, I had a different idea of what I wanted to do. I wanted to play football or soccer with them, run and play tag. But then I began to tutor them and help them in class. I did not know what could have happened, but I saw this need to help out students like me, students who are learning English as a second language. And so my senior talk sprang out from this desire to help. Good morning. Good morning, senior class, director, and honored guests. My name is Edgar Torres Hidalgo. Thank you and welcome to my senior talk, Hablando Ingles. Let me introduce you to a school I have been volunteering at. This school's name is America's Finest. It's not as big as other schools I have seen, but as you walk up past the gates and walk into the main office, the staff greets you and asks, "How may I help you today?" This is the first day I felt welcome. As I walked into Mr. Ostrovsky's 4th grade classroom, I thought to myself, oh man, how am I going to remember this dude's name? But then, luckily, we just go by as Mr. O. When I first saw them, I'm not going to lie to you, I really thought to myself, what did I get myself into? Because, well, I did not know how to approach the students or what to do. Luckily for me, my coach, Ms. Campos, was there to support me. All she did was walk up to a student and ask what he was doing. As I left that day, I felt more confident of what I would be doing. And so it began. But before I talk to you about my amazing journey, let me talk to you about some of my struggles. Something I struggled with at first was talking to the students since I did not know how to relate to little children. So in order to overcome this, I had to make them feel comfortable with me. I went around with small talk. I went around to introduce myself and try to memorize their names. It was another struggle for me since I do not have much of a good memory. But I got it done. As they worked, I went around to ask what they like to do outside of school. I also played with them during free time and worked hard to get to know them with the help of Mr. O. Everyone has their way of working with students. My way of working with students is by rewarding them. Every time they did the work, they get our reward. Just like how they work hard to get that reward, I worked hard to build a trust and allow them to relate to me. It was something complicated for me, and it took a while, but it was worth it. Now they ask me for help and are actually happy that I pay attention to them when Mr. O cannot. There's one student that stands out to me the most, Raul. Raul is a student that is learning English as a second language. He was learning basic words that we could read perfectly just fine. Words like the, along, life, and live. The English language is hard, and here's a video to show you how hard it really is.
Here, honey, I'll show you what I mean. Now, you take this book and pretend that our child has come to you and said, "Daddy, read me a good night story."
All right.
There you are, Daddy.
Once upon a time, in the woods lived a peasant. He was a good man with a noble heart. He spent his time in the forest, cutting down bushes from the trees. Cutting wood.
Wait, just a minute. What is this bouges?
Bushes, right in there.
That's boughs.
B-O-U-G-H is bow?
Right.
Bow. He spent his time in the forest cutting down boughs from the trees. Cutting wood all day made his hands strong and raw. One day...
That's rough.
Spelled the same way as the other. O-U-G-H.
That's right. That shows how little you know about the English language.
So I made a little mistake. Made his hands strong and rough. One day he cut wood so fast that by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, his day's work was through. Through?
Through is pronounced through.
Through, that's what I always say. Now stop picking on me, will you? You're getting me all confused. His day at work was through. It started to rain on the way home, and he got so wet that his nose became red, and he developed a hacking... Goo? I know it can't be cow.
It's cough.
Oh, that did it. I had enough. Or should I say, enu?
As you can see, the English language is crazy. And so when it came to Raul practicing these words, I saw how he struggled. He read every letter of the word. When I would see this, I would go up to him and read the word with him until he got the hang of it. You see, I saw a difference, an improvement on him. Working on it one-on-one really helped him. And it also helped out other students. And here's a video of how.
I mean, I've definitely noticed the difference since Edgar's been in the classroom. I feel like he's really bonded with a lot of the students. I feel like a lot of the students, including one in particular, has bonded really well with Edgar, and I feel like his presence in the classroom has made a big difference. And I think that. Yeah, I mean, it's been really great having the extra help, having an additional person in the classroom. So yeah, I feel like it's been great having Edgar here.
Before starting this project, I did not like helping out little children. But little by little, I began to like them, and it began to motivate me to feel good of the faces they make when they have finally accomplished the work given to them and finally understood the work. This was not my initial idea. I kept switching from idea to idea of what I wanted to do. For example, I want to work in a hospital in honor of my mom. Then I want to do beautification. And then eventually I want to work with animals. But time was ticking, and with the help of Ms. Campos, my coach, she helped me come down to a decision. And I ended up at America's Finest. I did not realize it, but I began to connect with them on a personal level. You see, growing up, I was also an English learner. I was learning English as a second language. Spanish was my first. Luckily for me, I had two brothers that were going to school. And I also met a teacher at school that was bilingual. They really helped me out a lot to improve my English skills. But not only was this teacher helping me out, she became a role model. Just like I was a role model to these students. One day I was helping out a student, and I saw something I have not seen in a long time. I asked him if he could pull it out. He pulled out a Pokemon card, and right behind it, he pulled out a whole binder full of them. He was surprised when I told him I did not collect them. And it was because I told him that I was a senior and had a busy schedule to keep. Then he began to flood me with questions. Questions like, if it was hard to be a senior, if it was fun, how to keep up good grades, how to become a good student. I was so surprised, I did not know how to answer. A 10-year-old was asking me questions of how to become a good student. I noticed that he had a bright future ahead of him. I did not realize it, but helping these students really changed me. One day I was sitting outside the classroom, doing my work, and my teacher, Ms. Campos, came out and told me she was really proud of me because I had been doing my work. You see, before this project, I had to be told what to do. after this project, I realized that if I was going to become a role model to these students, I had to take initiative of doing my work. I had to stop messing around. I had to show an example to them. I'm so proud of my students. They are so smart and kind to each other. You see, when me and Mr. O are busy helping out other students, they help out each other with the work given to them. You see, I went into this class to help out all students, but I came out focusing more on English learners. And what I learned was that the English language learners are not performing as well as non-ELL students. This needs to change. If we want our students to have a bright future, we need to teach them English. We need to help them out. I understand most of you are asking, how can I help out my student if I can barely speak English? But our students are struggling out here. Based on the National Assessment of Education Progress, at the 4th grade, ELL students scored 36 points below English speakers. I want my students to have a bright future. I want them to get good jobs. And for them to get all this, they need to learn English. It may be easy for an adult to say that learning English is too hard, but they do not realize that these students are looking up to them. If their hero says that learning English is too hard, then what makes it easier for them? Who are they going to practice with? As hard as it is, we need to practice with them, and we need to struggle with them because it will help them out. By learning English, it will help them become better at writing, speaking, and reading. Today, I encourage you all to practice with a student. Thank you, and this concludes my senior talk.